In 1965, some American pickups were built to haul. Comfort and safety were afterthoughts. The Ford F-100 shook your bones with its harsh ride and noisy cabin. The Chevy C10? Loud, stiff, and dangerously light in the rear, making it hard to handle when roads got slick. No seatbelts, no crumple zones, and steel dashboards meant even minor crashes could be deadly. These trucks worked hard, but they were rough, risky, and anything but refined. Dear viewers, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you for your support. Number 4. 1965. Dodge Town Wagon, Town Panel. The Town Wagon with windows and Town Panel without were marketed as people and cargo movers, but they didn't fully succeed at either. Too rough for comfortable passenger duty, too cramped and awkward for serious freight hauling. Its body-on-frame truck origins meant it handled like a lumber wagon. No refinement, stiff leaf springs, and truck-heavy ride with little interior sophistication. Even by 1965, the cab design and mechanicals felt dated, especially compared to newer vans like the Ford Econoline or Chevrolet's forward control offerings. Cabin echo, thin metal doors, gear whine. The large open metal interior created a booming echo chamber, especially when driving unladen. Conversations had to compete with road and drivetrain noise. The manual transmission and differentials produced noticeable whine, and early versions of Dodge's 3-speed were clunky and unrefined. Engine mounts transmitted vibration directly into the floorboards, just bare steel with paint, no soundproofing. The noise inside was constant and fatiguing, particularly at highway speeds. Big blind spots and clunky overloaded steering. Especially in the panel version, the lack of rear side windows created massive blind spots. Rearward visibility was awful, making parking or reversing a guessing game. With no power steering standard and a nose-heavy design, low-speed maneuvering was a chore, and responsiveness was nearly non-existent in emergency situations. As with most mid-60s vehicles, no seatbelts, no padding, and solid metal dashboards were standard. Combine that with its truck-like dynamics and high center of gravity, and it was a rolling risk in a collision. These vehicles were never produced in high numbers, and few survive. Their awkward hybrid nature, part van, part truck, all compromises, didn't win them a strong following. While underwhelming by modern standards, the Town Wagon panel represents a time when form followed function, and the idea of a family SUV was decades away. Number 3, 1965, Chevrolet El Camino, base model. Car frame couldn't handle real truck use. The El Camino was built on the Chevelle platform, meaning it had a unibody car chassis with a truck bed grafted on. This limited its ability to carry or haul anything truly heavy without frame flex or stress. Though marketed as a utility vehicle, the rear suspension sagged under moderate loads, and durability issues showed up quickly when pushed beyond casual use. Base models often came with a 194 or 230 cubic inch inline 6, which were adequate for daily driving but lacked torque for real hauling or towing. The base interior was sparse and low budget. Thin plastic dash pieces and trim rattled over time, and panel fit was often poor, leading to annoying vibrations. Without much insulation, especially behind the cab, engine noise from the inline 6 and road drone from the rear bed crept into the cabin constantly. Highway driving was fatiguing, crumpled easily in crashes, no rollover protection. Like most cars of the era, it had no airbags, no seatbelts standard, and relied on thin steel construction. In a crash, especially a side or frontal one, the body offered minimal protection. With no structural reinforcement around the cab and a relatively narrow track, the El Camino could be unstable when fully loaded or during evasive maneuvers. and there was no rollover structure to protect occupants. Manual brakes and steering were common in base models, making emergency handling difficult. The El Camino was a cool-looking compromise that appealed more to style-conscious drivers than serious truck users. Base models especially were best suited to light suburban tasks, not real work. Later versions, or models optioned with V8s, found new life with muscle car enthusiasts. But the base 65 model was more about looks than capability. Number 2, 1965 Ford Ranchero base, 170 cubic inches. Problems: too small to haul, too rough to cruise. Payload limitations: though it had a truck bed, the compact size and soft rear suspension limited its utility. The base inline-six didn't have the torque to haul anything substantial, and the chassis, based on the Ford Falcon, wasn't designed for real work. Crude ride quality. It rode like a light-duty economy car with a stiff rear, rough and choppy on bumpy roads, especially when the bed was empty, which it usually was, given its weak load capacity. Noisy. Tin can echo from the bed. Harsh engine buzz on insulated cargo bed. The all-metal bed acted like a drum, amplifying road noise, gravel ping, and suspension clunks. Inside, it was echoey and industrial feeling, with few features to deaden sound. The 170 cubic inch inline-six was basic and loud. Its single-barrel carb, basic mounts, and thin firewall meant a constant buzz through the floor and firewall under load. This was not a cruising vehicle. On the highway, wind and engine noise competed with each other at anything over 50 miles per hour. Dangerous. Light rear end made it twitchy and tail-happy, unbalanced weight. The front-heavy layout and light rear end, especially with no cargo, made the Ranchero prone to oversteer, even in dry conditions. In the wet, it was easy to lose traction on corners or acceleration, economy car safety. Built on the Falcon platform, the Ranchero lacked side impact structure, had no crumple zones, and often came without seat belts unless specifically optioned. Weak braking and steering. Manual drum brakes and non-power steering were common, giving it a long stopping distance and vague road feel. Dangerous in an emergency. Despite its flaws, the Ranchero has a loyal fan base. Later models improved considerably, and early ones like the 65 are valued for their retro charm. It helped inspire similar car-truck hybrids in Australia and North America. While the base 170 CI version disappointed, higher trim Rancheros with V8s were more usable and desirable. Number 1, 1965 GMC 1000 base. I6, the GMC 1000 was essentially a rebadged Chevy C10, meaning it inherited all the same chassis suspension and braking system issues, sloppy manual steering, rear leaf springs that bounced without a load, and drum brakes that overheated or faded under stress were all par for the course. Pricier, but not better. GMC often marketed itself as a professional-grade brand, which meant higher base prices, even though there was no significant mechanical or build quality advantage in this base I6 truck. Buyers often felt they were paying more for a badge rather than receiving tangible benefits. Noisy. Cabin echo chamber. The interior was stripped down, especially on base models. No carpeting, basic vinyl seats, and almost no sound insulation meant that engine noise, road rumble, and wind were constantly present. Conversations were difficult at speed. It wasn't uncommon to have to shout over the drone of the inline-six and drivetrain vibration. Minimal refinement compared to later pickups. The lack of acoustic dampening materials made the truck feel harsh and crude inside, especially during long drives or in cold weather, when metal contraction added even more creaks and groans. Dangerous. No crumple zones. Like most vehicles of its era, the GMC 1000 was designed before crash safety was a serious engineering priority. The front end was a solid steel wall, transmitting crash forces directly into the cabin in a collision. No basic safety equipment, no seatbelts were standard. The steering column was non-collapsible, meaning a frontal impact could push it into the driver's chest, a sadly common fatal injury in that era. Drum brakes lacked the power or reliability needed for panic stops or steep grades, especially under load. The GMC 1000 remained a popular choice for tradespeople and farmers due to its simple, easy-to-repair design, even if it wasn't luxurious or particularly safe. Many shared parts with Chevrolet made maintenance inexpensive, and the inline-six was a proven workhorse with decent torque for daily hauling tasks. Collector niche today. In today's vintage truck market, the GMC 1000 is slightly rarer than the Chevy C10, giving it a bit more collector appeal despite its identical flaws.